Evening.
Hi.
All right, let's get this on screen here. All right. Do you want to sum up?
Huh. Well, he has been talking about uh, Minus and Avodah Zarah, but not the conventional definition, really, but a different definition, um, which escapes me.
Yeah. So let's see if we can find a salient line. Um,
I think he says that Minus is even worse than Avodah Zarah.
yeah. Uh, over here he says that it's misametzesi lashias kol zuamas olam es kol gasus agufanis es kol netios rishoyos hachzos beguf hagas bepnimis yisodasot b'chomrim lalos mol osher shel hakodesh umiyad mischalel slei b'nego bo hayad mesuava. It tries to destroy any any transcendence, any meaningful connection to that which transcends this world and that which uplifts a person. And the uh, the for the relay this we had this over here this line which we didn't really understand at first because we misread it. The dam hakekaini,
Right.
the blood of which is the destroyed Cain's carbon and made it inappropriate. And uh, the uh, the the as he says here, Torah Chitzoni, when a Razor was switched, Razor was switched from Minus, HaTorah Chitzoni Guhat Kimat, the external countenance was somewhat ironed. Amatora Achasi, the one purpose is one lo kadesh tzvonos hachayim, not to sanctify the will, the life, as olam
Hagas.
agas, right? Pesapnimius hamosis, aidei koso seder, etc. But not to uplift the world, but rather to bring down and destroy the sanctity. Um, the And then we had here again, Hakainus,
Mm.
Astabadamas Maaseha Mif'ala Korchi, Yisroel, right? And the Kainus and the Karchius. Kainus is the Kain and Karchius is Korach. And this is when the Koros HaKol Kum Kadoshim was a mockery. It wasn't to uplift the congregation, but to denigrate the sanctity, uh, um, which should have been, it's the goal um, Am Yisrael, and he says, right, Ein freshman am am kadosh nibchar b'olam, kol adam kadosh b'shava. Everybody, Zoe's hakar chutza energies, the Korach-kite of humanity. Yeshua kainus chadasha, the new kain kite, shemen esobo adam, from which men and people suffer. And so we got up to this line over here.
We're a little
Uh,
below the middle of the page.
yeah.
Hachefet shel
The
Hamodas
desire which Kosh Baruch Hu had to put one nation in the world as Malchus Konim Kodesh, who tzarich lios lemofes al or el yon loki, which is supposed to be a sign of the upper and divine the light, which penetrates the life of nations. So Rak Biosom Matsui Bo made only when it is present and stands, biyoso chasun mechavshi, being strong and free, biyoso shav lebinano be'osharo, when it returns to its structure and to its satisfaction. Achrei kol fosav, which eventually obviously is the geula. Achrei kol fosav bosavar, after all the times that appear in the past. Achrei konis yosav kashim, after all its difficult tests. After all its refinements and bleachings. B'shvom kol de'osav min kinyanov, when the nation comes back to Eretz, so with all the difficulties of Golos and all the acquisitions it had in its opinions or its midos, depending on how you translate deos here. Equal kingdom in all of its acquisitions, obviously spiritual acquisitions. Of Kook is saying that Golus has added to Am Yisrael's stature in its purpose, with all the property of its shama and its preparation of its life. He called it and all of its pure material purity. Hagizis feminist, the racial and theological purity. He called Tov and I don't think Geza here means, by the way, racial way to mean it today. But he means the national and the national and the theological purity. He called Tov with all of the content of divine manifestation, Shulola Marasha, which is for us our inheritance. And the unique qualities of Israel expand and broaden. As idea is Yudidus Hapnimis, through that inner friendship, which we can extend towards the nations of the world. Tachas kol mastema, instead, or in lieu, or despite all of the detestation or defos which persecution which we receive from them. They call kavod by ishtamus, and by all the honor and astonishment, which all the nations of the world can demonstrate upon him. I guess we'll be able to indicate, to show upon Am Yisrael, all this positive impression which they have instead of the degradation and embarrassment which they have heaped upon us in the past. And they call us the Chugashis Chabus by all of that, your desire of connecting for Reus and friendship. Im Am Hashem, with the nation of God, Eila Am Nachlas Hashem, which is the nation of God's portion, nation of God, which is Hashem's portion of the world. That the quality of holiness in its purity, the Taras Chaim Tzvunaba, in the purity of life, is intrinsic to the Jewish people. And only by a long process of imitation, idea droga in a what's the word in a
step by step
or stages. Shamaka doris of getting deeper over the course of generations. Let's say Aguna can then actually come out to fruition in a distinct measure. Amim, also the other nations. When all of this happens at the end of Golus, when the Gula comes and the nations of the world succumb to our perspective and our chosenness, as we clarify to everybody, the quality of holiness is not a cheap quality, as the minus would have you believe, that it's nothing special. Anybody, even with their disgusting hands, can take it. But it's a quality which comes at the cost of awful toil. So there's never with a constant sacrifice. There's nachas hakodesh, and by the merit of the holy inheritance of us, body of fathers to children, no say olam, who bear the world ba'ava with love, b'shorin derech Hashem b'chol os. Okay, eventually all the nations will be able to transcend the bizarre of the past and the meanings of the present and recognize this. I don't know what level we're supposed to be on for this to happen. I don't think we're on that level to happen today, but Am Yisrael is supposed to be somewhere on this pedestal to demonstrate this. Then the face of masks will be removed from all the nations. The masks which are on their faces, so to speak, and the masks which are cast over them as nations, I guess as individuals and as nations. And that which the minus were for went to kark moshi betorma beb sula. No, that's not what he means. He means the spirit of generosity, which minus seems to have uh, um, displayed by negating any unique qualities and saying that, like you say, for everybody's holy the same way. That they're saying that nobody is superior to anybody else, which seems like a patronus. It seems like a magnanimity and a generosity. It's not. It's the opposite. It's an attempt to bring down everybody. It's not to uplift anybody and say, well, higher. It's to diminish everybody and say no one's higher. So that initially looks like being magnanimous, but ultimately it will be manifest to be to kak Moshe b'torma beb, so it will seem to be a non-negotiable coin. Have samas naim, which the blinds the eyes, tamas and defiles the souls. Ma beretzach v'dam v'kol toeva, and ultimately because it brings down any pedestals and it eliminates any sense of hierarchy. It actually doesn't have causes more murder and more blood and more disgusting behavior. If there's no hierarchy, there's nothing to which to strive. There's nothing to which to strive, then everything is equal, and all activities ultimately are moral because there's no morality. Hashem is my strength and my fortress and my refuge on the day of travail. Elecha goyim yavo me'avsi to you the non-Jews will come from the corners of the earth. I don't remember these psukim are. V'yomer they say, Ach sheker nochlu avoseinu. Our fathers have bequeathed us sheker, hevel, emptiness. Ve'im bo mo'il, no effect. Nizgav Hashem levada be'yomahu. Hashem will be alone, will be uplifted at that time. And the foreign gods will completely disappear. And there will be no evil nor corruption in all my holy mountain, because I am full of knowledge of God, like water covers the sea. So Rav Kook is saying that the pedestal of Am Yisrael ultimately is for the betterment of all the nations of the world. And it's fighting internally against Korach-ism and externally against Cain-ism, or Cainus. And the idea is that minus, as defined by Rav Kook, represents the denial of the hierarchy, which is essential for the emulation and aspiration of the nations of the world. So Rav Kook is coming to tell us that let's use a provocative word, the supremacy of the Jewish people is essential and positive in the sense that it leads everybody else to be uplifted if they don't deny the value of sanctity as Cain and Korach would have them do. It's people have always asked me many times, not recently. I don't think anybody cares about racism anymore. But people ask me in the past, isn't this kind of like a racist philosophy, which Am Yisrael has, that we have this unique quality of being uplifted? And I don't think so. I think that, first of all, it's nothing to do with race. Anybody can join, and it's open to everybody. But besides that, it's the idea of, I think that in the finer conceptualizations, lahavdil, of the concept of aristocracy, the idea is that aristocrats are supposed to be not just above the people, but bring the people up. And it's the opposite of Marxism, which is basically the minus he's talking about here, which brings everybody down. So this
Right.
is
The lowest common denominator.
right, lowest common denominator. So this idea of there being hierarchy is intrinsic to any society which has worked in human history, and there, by definition, Kush Baruch Hu created most of the people in the world to be followers, and the Rambam was in his elitism took this to an extreme and said, well, the world was created for the elites, not for the masses. But even if we say the world's created for the masses, there has to be somebody who inspires the masses. And this, of course, changes, is in flux, who does this all the time. But I think Rav Kook is saying that this is how we understand Am Yisrael's role among the nations of the world.
It's an inspirational nation or an aspirational nation.
Yes, right.
Okay.
And yeah.
Very good.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Next one is shorter. We'll take a short amount of time to the next week.
Great.
Okay. Have a good night.
Yes, you too. Take care.
Bye bye.
All right. Thank you.